people. Another beautiful day. Yeah, what's good? Sitting here reading up on this article. You know, Game Pass got a lot of haters. You know, Xbox Game Pass got a lot of haters. But I bet you if Sony had came up with the title Game Pass first, you wouldn't hear from these haters. You wouldn't hear from Take-Two CEO, and you wouldn't hear anything from Sean Layden. But since the name is so popular, Game Pass, and Microsoft beat everybody to the punch, you got Sony former boss hating on Game Pass, and now Take-Two CEO. But I got news for both of them, Take-Two CEO and Sean Layden. The video game industry moved forward, not backwards. Yep. This ain't the 1990s no more. This ain't 95 anymore. This ain't 2000. This ain't 2005, 2010. This is 2021. So you got to have a streaming service in today's video game climate to keep up with the times. And not only that, we're living in a pandemic era. So yeah, you need a streaming service to meet the needs of today's gamers. Okay? You know, like that commercial where today's gamers are like, no, that commercial where those people was like, oh, it's my money and I need it now. Today's gamers are like, it's my video game and I need it now, ASAP. Okay? So you got to have a streaming service in today's video game climate. And for those who keep talking about Netflix is getting into video games because of the threat Game Pass possesses. Okay? And by the way, Netflix didn't grow big overnight. It took them some years to get where they need to be. Okay? It's the same thing with Game Pass and PlayStation now. It takes time for those streaming services to grow. But they are growing on a day-by-day basis. So this notion that you're taking your games, Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption from Game Pass, I got news for you, Take-Two CEO. You're going to be hurting yourself and your company. Okay? You better keep up with the times. Anyway, listen to this article that I found today. Listen to this. Says here, Take-Two CEO still doesn't want new games on Xbox Game Pass. I wonder why. Let's find out. The Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption publisher's CEO doesn't think subscription service makes sense for the company main titles. It says, in the era of streaming service like Netflix and Hulu standing as massive pillars of the television and film industry, many gaming companies have looked to follow the suit with their own take on the subscription model. Service like PlayStation Now and Xbox Game Pass promise massive libraries of games for a low monthly fee, and even Netflix has stepped into game streaming. Not only do these streaming service boast a large catalog of completed games, but these offerings are typically updated every month. Many new releases like Atlas time-bending RPG Crisis Tale find their way into streaming libraries as the member count of these services grow. However, for fans of franchises like Grand Theft Auto and Borderlands, the idea of new titles releasing on the service is not in the foreseeable future, according to a recent statement from the publisher Take-Two CEO. Listen, Take-Two CEO, you need to keep up with the times, okay? You need to keep up with the times. You need a streaming service in today's time. After what the pandemic just did, and the way the world was a ghost town, you need a streaming service, okay? When that pandemic hit, it didn't care about nothing. So it all comes down. It all comes down to who had the network, who had the infrastructure, and who had the features to survive it. Okay, So you do need a streaming service like Game Pass in the video game industry. The video game industry doesn't move backwards; it moves forward. So you have to keep up with the times. This ain't the 1950s or the 1920s. This is 2021. Okay, so you have to keep up with the time. And this notion that what do you say? Franchise like Grand Theft Auto and Borderlands, the idea of new titles releasing on the service is not in the foreseeable future. Well, I got news for you. Your company is going to be hurting if those games are not on PlayStation Now or Game Pass. You're going to suffer. Okay? You need to keep up with the times because people play video games not just at home anymore. People are out and about in the world doing their thing, and they play their games at home or on the fly. So you talking about not in the foreseeable future? Your company is going to take a hit. Okay, there's about what 7 to about what 8 billion people, and do you think 8 billion people stay at home all day? No, they don't. They move like ants. They're all over the place. Okay, and this notion that games like Grand Theft Auto 6 and the Red Dead Redemption is not coming to Game Pass or PlayStation Now, your company is going to suffer, okay? Big time, okay? Anyway, let me continue with this. Says here, during a recent earnings call, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick gave his stance surrounding the finance of working with subscription-based service. Zelnick said that while subscription service often makes sense for older games in a company catalog, the business model does not make sense for what he referred to as frontline titles. Within the statement, Zelnick made reference also to differing nature of TV/films and games in a streaming environment, suggesting that subscription models don't make sense for video game players who will often focus most of their time on a small selection of titles. And he says here, however, Zelnick will not rule out the concept of streaming service as a means of appealing to a wider audience. He stated that the company as a whole consider itself open-minded. How are you going to consider yourself open-minded when you talk about game? What do you say up here? What do you say here again? How are you going to consider yourself open-minded when you say franchise like Grand Theft Auto and Borderlands, the idea of new titles releasing on the service, meaning Game Pass, is not in the foreseeable future? In order for Game Pass and PlayStation Now to exist, you have to have an open mind. It looks like your mind is closed. But anyway, man, these people are funny. Anyway, where was I at? An open mind, and made reference to the company previously making catalogs available through service like PlayStation Now and Xbox Game Pass. Titles like Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Online have seen limited stint on Xbox Game Pass, with GTA 5 leaving Game Pass at the end of July, meaning 3 days ago. Anyway, games coming and going from Game Pass is nothing new to a subscription service. The library is updated on a regular basis with both new and old titles joining the service, and other titles pull from Xbox Game Pass. Many new titles like the upcoming Ages of Empire, and people were mad about that. I seen an article, I think it was on Eurogamer, where gamers were talking about they weren't happy with it because the water wasn't moving like how the water would move on Batman Arkham Knight. Anyway, and the highly anticipated Back 4 Blood up to release day and date on the streaming service, complementing the already sizable library, with Microsoft frequently offering sales and special deals on Game Pass. The service is here to stay. Facts. Anyway, and maybe someday fans will be able to experience hyped up games like Grand Theft Auto 6 through Game Pass. And that's that. Look, like I tell people before, Game Pass ain't going nowhere. PlayStation Now ain't going nowhere. Okay. Um, if you don't bring let's say Grand Theft Auto 6 and Red Dead Redemption 3 to Game Pass or PlayStation Now, your company is gonna take a hit, a huge one. Okay. You have to keep up with the times. Okay. You need Game Pass in a climate like this. Okay. Like I said before, when the pandemic hit, the pandemic was like, it was based on, okay, who had the network, who had the infrastructure, and who had the features to survive it. Okay, so you need Game Pass in today's time, and the reason why Game Pass is getting a lot of hate is because it's Microsoft, number one, and number two, they got the title, and PlayStation don't. If PlayStation had that title, people wouldn't be complaining so much. But since it's Microsoft and they got the title, everybody got a problem with it. Game Pass is here to stay and it's not going anywhere. So you people just gonna have to deal with it. Okay? And you have to keep up with the times in today's video game climate. You just have to. Video games don't go backwards. They go forward. That's how games grow. Okay? And that's how the industry keeps moving. So this notion that you're pulling titles from Game Pass, you're only hurting your company and yourself. Okay? Like I said before, there's 7 to 8 billion people on the earth. Do 8 billion people stay at home all day? No, they don't. They move like ants all over the place. They move. So you need Game Pass on the go, on the fly. You know, so people can do it, play their games wherever they're at out there in the world. So. And they like I said, like the commercial said, it's my money and I need it now. In today's video game climate, it's my video game and I need it now. So Game Pass is a good service, just like PlayStation Now, and you need those services for today. So this notion that you're pulling titles, to me, is just a publicity stunt because you're going to be hurting in the long run. Anyway, nice talking to you people. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing, or Dark Side. I'm gone. Peace. Oh, by the way, I will leave a link in the description box.